This is Your Day in Court. All right, y'all told me about something that I don't believe I'd ever heard about before, and that is a hospital lien. When someone is in the hospital, yet the hospital doesn't file their insurance or doesn't file with any other, like Medicare or Medicaid even, and then all of a sudden they start getting bills in the mail.
Yeah, and this is a really insidious practice that is 100% legal in the state of Georgia, but that doesn't make it right. And it goes back to a Georgia law that seemingly on its face makes perfect sense. A hospital or medical provider should get paid for their services, and if there's a third party that is potentially responsible for the medical bills, then the hospital can file a lien against you, the patient's case, against that third party. So here, how does this come up? Somebody gets in a car crash, ambulance takes them to pick a hospital. There was a WSB-TV news show this week where it focused on Grady Hospital, which does this a lot, but it's pretty much every hospital in the metro Atlanta area. So ambulance takes you to the hospital, you're admitted at the hospital, you give them your insurance card. I have insurance, call whoever it is. And the hospital does not contact your insurance and instead wants the details of the car wreck because they want to know the police report, who's the auto insurance involved, and they will file what's called a hospital lien in the county where you are, put you on notice of it, that basically says, we're going after the full amount of our bill out of your case. Forget the fact that you have health insurance or other insurance to pay this. We're going after it that way. Now, why is this such a bad thing? The way it works with hospitals, and I do promise that I'll give Ray a chance to speak, okay? But I'm hot on this topic.
No, go, Matt, go.
The way it works with hospitals and health insurance companies is that before you ever become a patient, they will have had arm's length negotiations to negotiate what is a fair amount of reimbursement for the services that the hospital provides. And the insurance company's position on this is, look, charge whatever you want. We don't care what you charge. But when, let's say it's Blue Cross Blue Shield. When a Blue Cross Blue Shield patient of ours comes into this hospital and gets this treatment, this is the amount of money we're going to pay, and you're going to accept it as full payment and not charge our patient for or our insured for any more money. So they say, you want to charge $10,000? Charge $10,000, but we're only going to pay you $800, and you're going to take the $800 as full payment. They negotiate. They eventually reach an agreement, right? So now here you are with health insurance that you've paid for. Usually it comes out of your paycheck or paying for it on your own, but it's, you paid to have this coverage. You go to the hospital and the hospital says, oh, we're not going to do that because we don't want the deal we already made in an arm's length negotiation with Blue Cross Blue Shield. We want the $10,000. That is just a made up number with no support for it at all. And in fact, we're going to take this money by taking it out of your personal injury claim against the guy who hit you. And so it's really adding insult to injury because it's literally taking the money that the injured person should be entitled to recover from the negligent driver that caused their injuries. And instead, the hospital is immorally and corruptly, although legally, stealing money.
Yeah, what's interesting is the mechanics of this. So the hospital has, and Grady has, a good team of lawyers that are working within the law, as Bruce points out, and they file a lien in the courthouse. It's called the liens pending liens, in the county that you reside in, the injured person. So you're laying in the hospital, tubes in you, machines are beeping, nurses are giving you pills, and the hospital's lawyers are whipping up paperwork to race down to the courthouse to file to put a lien on your potential personal injury claim against the drunk driver or the negligent construction of the staircase where you got hurt, whatever. They want 100% of their money. They don't like that deal anymore that they cut with Blue Cross Blue Shield or anybody else that pays them 35 cents on a dollar. They want to get 100 cents on a dollar out of your case, and they want your lawyer, meaning Bruce or I, to get it for them. We're going to have to file suit against the negligent driver or a facility that caused you to get hurt, and then when we're ready to settle, they pony up, say, where's our money? And you have to file and sign a lien guarantee with the defendant's insurance company, right? Before Allstate, State Farm, or whomever will settle with you and your client, you've got to go under oath and say all liens have been satisfied. And those lawyers check the liens pendants file and say, oh, wait a second, Grady's got an $800,000 lien on your case that we offered you $900,000 on.
Wow.
Now you got a problem.
Yeah.
And the Court of Appeals, the Georgia Court of Appeals, has upheld these hospital liens, and every opportunity, even when the liens are filed sloppily in the wrong county, it's almost like, well, they shot a shotgun up in the air, the hospital did, and one pellet hit the bird, and you're the bird, and you're down. I mean, that's it. Now, one quick thing. I think some good lawyers are going to start litigating these liens, and here's what I think you do. Okay, hospital, let's see you prove that the fair market value of that MRI that is $10,000. How can that be when you negotiated an $800 bill reimbursement with Blue Cross Blue Shield? You've already proven what the fair market value is because you signed this deal.
Well, it's unfortunate that, even in seemingly straightforward situations, insurance companies and medical providers, have a way of making things so complicated that, look, the average listener here is in way over their head if they try to do these things themselves. And what Ray is saying is exactly right, because some of those good lawyers who are already filing those cases include me. The first thing the hospital does when you tell them, all right, now we want to see what you have agreed to accept in your arm's length negotiations with every single insurance company that you've negotiated for these same services, and we'll determine what the fair market value is, the reasonable value for the services you're rendering. And they're not going to disclose that. They will settle with you before anything. But why should you have to go to that extent of having a lawyer there to file a separate lawsuit? Nobody's making money on that lawsuit. It's just to make sure that you don't get ripped off. And what about the people who think that I'm just going to do this myself? Listen, I get it. I understand my position in society's pecking order. Dentists and personal injury lawyers are folks that you need them sometimes, but nobody likes or respects the job that we do. And I say this all the time. The world would be a better place if we weren't necessary. But you've got things like this, and people are stealing from you, right? I have plenty of bright, educated clients, especially those who consider themselves, hardworking taxpayers, right? This is not me. I'm not part of the problem. Everybody else is part of the problem, and they get into a situation like this, and they realize that this whole system is skewed against the average Joe, and everybody is fighting you. And by the way, the only friend you have in that moment is your friendly neighborhood personal injury lawyer. Thank you very much.
And by the way, while this lien is pending, you can't refinance your house. It'll impact your credit score. You may lose a job over it. Somebody may say, hey, you're being sued by a hospital for not paying a bill, but we've got you in our finance department. That, small things like that can come back to make your life so much more complicated and difficult. And again, it's just not fair.